Hi, Camille and the Studio Birds here with the second part of my tutorial on Flexagon or infinity cards. In the first part, we looked at my book, The Forest Queen, and learned how to make that. In this one, I'm going to show you how to use the blank pattern, which also is included in that pattern of Forest Queen, so that you can use your own images to make your own Flexagon. What you need to do to start is you need to print out the blank pattern, and just like the other pattern, you want to print it so that you've got the front and the back lined up on top of each other. So that might take a little bit of adjustment if your printer doesn't print exactly the same on front and back as you print each one. But it is set up so that it's directly on top of the other. So go ahead and do that. And then we're ready to create our images. And your images need to be this size. They can be photographs, they can be drawings, they can be different decorative paper. I'm going to use decorative paper for what I'm going to show you. And what we want to do is we want to take each page and then cut it out in the corresponding color-coded sections. So there are 4 pages, so there's 4 different sets of colored sections. And I'm just going to do the first one with you here so you can see how it goes. So what you want to do is you want to look at the first page, which is this yellow section, and here's what I'm going to be using and gluing onto that section here. And I'm just going to make a little mark to tell me how far that goes. I'm just going to cut it, and then I'm going to glue that onto that section. And I like to use a little piece of waste paper so that I can go right up to the edge and get good coverage of glue. And I'm just going to add a nice thin layer of glue through that whole piece. And then I'm just going to glue that onto that top section. If you have something that has text on it or has an up and down, make sure you get that right. And lay that nice and flat. And then we're going to do the second section. And for the second section, we're going to make sure we've got it going right side up. We'll go to the second place where that goes, and here's where that ends, and we'll cut that. And just like with the other one, we'll use the waste paper as my glue. And we'll glue that in the middle. Make sure we've got it right side up in that middle section. And glue it nice and flat. If you need to use a burnisher, great idea. So what you're going to do then is put the last piece here on the bottom, and you want to do that for each section. Make sure you look, it's front and back. So this would be the top upper right of that page. This would be the middle left of the page. This would be the bottom right of the page. And I've gone ahead and done that here so you can see that I have all of my patterns glued onto the sections, except for this here where it says wait to glue this until step 10. We want to glue this last. This is the piece that actually secures your Flexagon. So to fold and cut and score the Flexagon, it's pretty easy from here on out. We're going to go to the score lines that you see up here, and we're going to score each of those with our bone folder, using a ruler and lining it up. And now we're ready to cut the flap. And the flap is in the shape of a C. And as you glue it down, keep note of where that flap outline is. It's a C shape that runs in the center of these sections, and you want to cut that out from the front. The blue line is actually on the front, so you want to cut that out and carefully do that. Now we're ready to cut out the book itself. Line it up on these lines. Now we're ready to fold our book. We've got the C cut in and we've cut out our book, so we're ready to begin the folds. The first fold we make is you fold that door open and press that. The second fold we make is you want to take the first section where we scored the line and you want to fold that over. Then we want to flip the whole thing over. It's just easier to see. And we want to make those last two folds, and that is to fold the flap over on itself. I like to burnish each of these folds really well. It helps in opening and closing the Flexagon. And the last fold that we're going to make is a fold to the back, and we want to fold this last section over on those scored lines, and you can see how it's lining up. And burnish everything. Now we're ready to add that little hinge that I talked about. And here's that leftover piece. I've cut and pasted the other parts of the page, but this is our last hinge, and we're going to use that scrap piece of paper and put a little glue on that and add that to the top to create the Flexagon. We want to make sure when we put that on that we're putting it so that it matches up with the other two pieces we've already glued down. And then we want to lay that over the top. Gently burnish it. If you're using something really thin, be careful and let this dry before you begin pressing it. Once that's wet, it's kind of difficult to can tear and rip. So there we have it. Here is our Flexagon. We'll see if it will let me fold it. I'm going to fold it in half just to kind of press all these folds. And here you go. Your own Flexagon. You can see this pattern and many others on my shop. I really appreciate everyone watching and commenting. It's been great. Hope you have some time this week to make something wonderful. Bye.